4chan was reportedly hacked. The image board, infamous for the emergence of Anonymous, or the infamous hacker known as 4chan. It's down. As of right now, you can't go to the site. Apparently, it's been hacked. Information is being leaked. It's not confirmed that the information is real, but the site ain't working. And this is, my friends, the end of an era. The internet is dead. The internet is dead. And I feel bad for Gen Z. Because I grew up with the dawn of the internet. And I mean it. My family had the internet back in like the late 80s when I was but a wee lad. And we used DOS shell. And it meant nothing. Because going on the internet was pointless. And then it was CompuServe at the time. We ended up getting AOL. And then, man, what a beautiful, beautiful time to be on the internet. The dial-up modems, the goofy sounds when you were calling, the getting a phone call and kicking you off the internet. That was fun. If you were plugged in and someone called that number, you'd get booted. So for a lot of people with early internet, you were making a phone call the whole time and nobody could call you. So we ended up getting a second line. And that second line, nobody had the number to. But sometimes while you were online, somebody, a telemarketer, would randomly call that number and it would boot you from the internet. It is sad now to see 4chan going down. This wasn't necessarily early internet, but it was mid-internet. And it was a time when the internet was still about discovery and exploration. They say that that 4chan was the birth of the far right or a hub for the far right. And all of that is just manipulation and a lie. It was a forum where young people made memes, shared memes, and goofed off. Here's the news from Cyber News. They say users have been unable to access 4chan since early Tuesday, with complaints flooding outage monitoring sites. Security researchers claim the outage may be linked to a comprehensive hack. The outage has been reported since the early hours of Tuesday, with thousands of users reporting the site is inaccessible on downdetector.com. We have reached out to 4chan for comment, and we'll update the article once we receive a reply. Cyber News researchers looked into the hack claims and discovered unknown actors sharing lists with supposed 4chan moderators' login credentials, as well as overall platform's mailing lists. Interesting. However, at the time of writing, it's unclear whether the data is legitimate. According to security researcher Prit Rebane, 4chan servers were hacked, with attackers posting images of admin view, leaking the website's source code, and sharing posts from the private 4chan moderator board. Seems like the attacker had shell access on the server, so this might not be all. The site itself is down right now, Rebane posted on Mastodon. This individual on Bird app, Blue Sky, 4chan, the internet's litter box, got hacked. The site was indeed unavailable at the time of writing. Meanwhile, Kevin Beaumont, cybersecurity researcher and former threat intelligence analyst at Microsoft, said the outage looks like an attack that might take the site out for a long time. If confirmed, the attack could significantly impact the website's operations. For one, shell access exposes administrative tools, user data, and other sensitive information. And next comes the doxing. There's going to be power users. And if this hack's legit, and these people weren't using VPNs, then they're going to start connecting the posts these individuals made and publishing them. We'll see. Hard to know for sure. You can see one person posted, Jack Black, what the F is going on? And it says chicken jockey, indeed. This level of access could enable attackers to modify the site's functionality, allowing threat actors to insert malicious code or delete essential data. Due to 4chan's notorious reputation, leaking admin identities could pose their privacy and security. Cyber News information security researcher Naringa believes, I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that last name, Mesijaskaite? I tried. If confirmed, the leak could enable doxing and password reuse attacks across the platform. Given 4chan's culture, exposed identities may lead to targeted trolling, harassment, or coordinated abuse campaigns. Let me tell you about 4chan, my friends. There was a period 15 years ago where 4chan was growing in massive popularity among young people in general, and it wasn't a far-right thing. The hacker known as Anonymous was largely a gag, really. And I wonder if this was a psychological operation, like intelligence op. Basically, what you end up with is, I'll tell you this. One day I was walking around downtown Chicago, and I saw a bunch of people wearing Guy Fawkes masks. That's from V for Vendetta. And I was like, what is going on? It's a big protest, but it was goofy looking, and they're holding up memes and gags. And so I asked some of the people, what are you guys doing? The guy Fox me, I was like, what's going on? And they said, we're protesting Scientology. And I was like, oh, why? And they went on to say that Scientology was bad, it was a cult and all these other things. And I was like, okay, I guess. I'm like, I don't know. It's not like the most pressing political issue. It was called Operation Chinology. And it was the birth of the hacker known as Anonymous. Eventually, 4chan users would create operations where if someone posted something to 4chan and somebody wanted to interact with that thread, so they commented, every time you comment, the thread goes straight to the top of the list. That means everybody sees it. It's an interesting system. That means people could push a thread to the front by simply saying bump. That's what they would do. So if there was a thread that was like, we should vote for Donald Trump, and it was dying because nobody was interacting, somebody would go into it, comment bump, and it would pop back up to the front of the page. If it didn't work, the thread would just die off because nobody was interacting. This meant that truly popular ideas started to rise to the top, and every user on the platform's name is anonymous. It just doesn't put a name. It says anonymous. So when action started being taken that seemed to be activisty, the media was reporting that a hacker named Anonymous was doing these things. In fact, what was really happening was a simple downloadable tool that was very small called the Low Orbit Ion Cannon. People were told, download this, type in this number, and press go. And random people would do it. And they had no idea what they were really doing, but this would trigger a distributed denial of service attack, meaning that tool would inundate a server with requests until it went down, and thus gave birth to the hacker known as 4chan. Now, more importantly, 4chan was instrumental in getting Donald Trump elected. 4chan produced almost all of the memes that were going viral across social media. Reddit played a big role in this as well. So Reddit's executives intervened and stopped the Donald subreddit from being able to share popular and funny memes. Trump really was memed into the presidency. They since moved to patriots.win, which maintains some, but not all. The meme energy is gone. And 4chan largely lost a lot of its influence, though it did have a tremendous, quote unquote, like far right presence, I guess. That wasn't the majority of it, not even by a large amount. Now, I'll tell you what's really sad about this, my friends. As I said in the beginning of this video, the internet is dead. And it is. We call it dead internet theory. I was reading a thread on Reddit the other day. Millennial was saying, I hate the internet these days. When I was younger, and this is true for myself, you would go online and it was like you were really exploring something. You didn't know what you were going to find. You would click links. Man, I remember, what was the name of that website? No, it wasn't Audiophile. There was a website in the 90s that just had like 200 MP3s on it. And you'd go there and see if they routinely added any other MP3s. So you wanted popular music. You had no way to download it. You'd go to this website and it would just list and you'd be like, hey, look, there's one, and you download it. Then you had the song on your computer, you could play it. Yeah, that was illegal. Napster came about and LimeWire, and what was it? Kazan, a whole bunch of these cloned apps that would allow you to do peer-to-peer file sharing. But anyway, back in the day, you would find new things. Newgrounds.com. It was truly an amazing time where this new frontier was being built, and that frontier is gone. It really is. We have hyper-developed the new Wild West, and it's gone. It is an app reality. We don't go to websites anymore for the most part. We go to apps. We don't go to cyber news. We go to Google, and we type in a thing, and we just pick what we get. This is why social media algorithms have basically taken everything over. And it really is sad. This new frontier was something fun and exciting and a little edgy and defensive, and you could see things, man, you probably shouldn't see. Today, everything's controlled. Users seem largely fake. Everybody's on in some capacity. And no longer do we explore different websites. I think that mobile technology largely destroyed the internet. I mean, look, I get it. We use it. It's a piece of our life. But it has become a police state, as it were. It used to be that you'd go out into the real world, you'd do your job, you do whatever. And then here's the funny thing. You know what's really crazy? People used to have online monikers separate from their real name. Now it's indistinguishable because the internet has become people's lives. So you would have it, and most of you know this. You'd have a username, and it would be like, what would people say? Like hacker guy or something. You know what I mean? They'd make up weird names. Mega Man, top player, whatever. Some people would give themselves more names like Neo. That was the point in the Matrix. When you were online, you'd create a username. People would refer to you as that. Now it's just you got an @ You're Timcast. You're @ so and so. Now people are just associated with a permanent online ID, and we're online 24/7. The real world is becoming empty. Suppose that means we can go into the real world, and that's where the real edgy stuff happens these days. But it is sad because it was so fun to explore this new and vast space. To see 4chan get hacked, taken down, and brutalized, it's just like, it's the end of an era, man. It is the end of an era, I say. So it's a bummer. It really is. But we'll see what happens with 4chan. I don't think that it'll ever rise to the same degree of prominence that it once had. But there used to be this vibe that was, it was almost mainstream among our generation. We were on these forums, and this is what we were experiencing. And now we're all back just to surface level garbage. There's no influence coming out of these spaces anymore. The machine state has grabbed and gripped and taken control. I'll leave it there. Stay tuned. More segments to come throughout the day. Thanks for hanging out. We'll see you all then.